Hey there folks, Joe D'Angelo's here with another Samurai Jack Season 5 review. This is about Season 5, Episode 3, which was last night's episode. And again, if you haven't been caught up, I'd suggest you watch the first 3 episodes of Season 5, then watch, or listen rather, to this video. Sorry about all the noise, my computer was, takes a long time to boot up. And I have laundry going on in the background, but I think you guys should be able to hear me. And from this point forward, there's going to be spoilers for the episode, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, don't continue. Unless you don't mind spoilers or have already seen the episode, then, well, keep listening. So, this week's Samurai Jack continues off of last week, where we saw Jack kind of just in the river, his stomach bleeding, he was stabbed, and it was just a lot of blood, and it continues on that thread, and he falls down a waterfall. When he wakes up, he has to panic because he doesn't know if the daughters of Aku are around, and he kind of just drags himself, basically limping himself to a cave, and, he keeps bleeding, he has to pull the blade out. It's pretty intense, but we also have to realize last week, according to the series, because Jack didn't kill other human beings in the original series. He killed robots, or if anything, the deaths were more implied than anything else, or at the very least, you don't see them on screen. But with this death, we saw it, and it was the first time Jack killed a human. He killed one of the daughters of Aku by slitting her throat, and it was a very nasty little scene. So then Jack's subconscious is talking to him, which basically looks like the classic Jack, but freakier and blue. And he's like saying, so, this is the first person you've killed. Will you be able to keep doing this? Can you kill 6 more? Or are you just struggling so much that you want to die? Kind of last week he was talking about how he should just end it all. And now this week he's saying, oh, so you're struggling this much because you really do want to end it. But we know Jack's going to keep going, and of course we got 7 more episodes after this, so he can't just die here. But we also get to come across another character from last week's episode, the White Wolf from the previous episode, who kind of was the kind of like a symbol for Jack last week when the wolf was like fighting these giant tiger things. Jack was fighting the daughters of Aku. And while he was, he got away, he didn't get away without an injury. They're both injured, and they both kind of take care of each other. More the wolf helps out Jack quite a bit, heal his wounds and all that. So that's a nice little non-dialogue relationship there. One of the other really neat things about this episode is that we get a flashback. We get a flashback to when Jack was a kid and his father and mother were alive. And it's a little scene where they're in their, cart or wagon, and they step out because there are bandits. And if you remember the previously on, quote, where, Jack is going, you can either just, leave me alone or stay and face your destiny. And his father basically says the same spiel to these bandits. And we get to see his father, actually kill people. Now, that was something we really didn't see in the other series either. Because really the main fight that we saw his father do was against Aku in the Birth of Evil, and he didn't kill people. He was just attacking, the various forms of Aku. This time we see blood and he kills people, and some of it even lands on Jack's face. And later on in the episode we get back to that flashback, and the father kind of explains to Jack, look, in certain moments, the way you react really defines who you are, pretty much. Really powerful stuff. I always love the flashback scenes with young Jack and Jack's dad, because Jack's dad's one of my favorite characters on the show. So I hope to get at least a few more flashbacks before this season's conclusion. So then we get the daughters of Aku, who, well, the daughters of Aku at this point, they drag one of their own out of that temple, out of the ruins of that temple, and they say death is weakness, and they just leave her behind. And the shot kind of lingers on her for like a good 2 or 3 seconds, which I thought was, pretty impactful. It just shows, this person really died, but also that the daughters of Aku really just don't care. She's useless to them now. So then they go out into the snow and they try to chase and track down Jack. But before then, we get a nice little moment of comedy with this female deer, this doe and this buck. The buck really made me think of the Great Prince of the Forest from Bambi. But it was funny because the daughters of Aku thought that the buck was a servant of Aku because of the way the antlers were shaped. And they were like, "What are they doing? What is this nonsense?" And they sounded like completely serious, but it was a nice little moment of comedy when you're also feeling all this tension for Jack because the daughters of Aku are going to track him down. So then Jack's actually hiding in the snow. He sneak attacks them, and he's able to kill off a bunch of the daughters this episode. You see him stab them and slice them up a bit, drive a weapon through them. It's pretty intense stuff. I was saying to my brother, as we were watching the episode, it's maybe he's going to kill a daughter a week. And it's no, but he kills a bunch of them this episode. And, oh man, it's just really good stuff. And it really nice use of white backgrounds because it was snowing. So Jack was able to hide through the snow and the tundra, or, the frozen tundra and all that. And, sure enough, there's one daughter left, and I believe it's Ashi, who is the one we were focused on in the first episode of this new season. And she falls down, so we don't know if she dies, but we know that Jack won't die because we see him next week. And Jack falls down into the snow as well, and that's where the episode leaves us. Leaves us with this great cliffhanger. We know Jack's going to live, but what the hell is going to happen next? We have pretty much one daughter left of Aku's, so how are they going to continue that? I guess what I love about this was that it continued the thread of last week's episode. Jack is just really getting tired of just having to fight and beat Aku's minions. After 50 years, and it can be exhausting, and it's running him down. Part of him really does, excuse me, part of him really does want to end it all. And also, just some nice non-dialogue moments with Jack and the wolf, and of course, some great fight scenes with Jack and the daughters of Aku. Next week looks like an interesting episode. There's a couple episodes from the original series that make me think of this next one that we're going to see this week, with kind of these weird alien creatures that Jack can float on or whatever. It makes me think of an old Samurai Jack episode that would probably normally be filler, but in this new 10 episode saga, it's gonna have to develop the story somewhat. But it'll be interesting to see what goes on with that, and it's nice to see a slightly different aesthetic than we've seen in the last two episodes where it's snow and dark. So anyway, that looks really cool. What are your thoughts on Samurai Jack this season so far? Who else do you hope to see this season? And what other, battles would you like to see? Comment below, subscribe to this channel for more on Samurai Jack as well as other movie reviews. Thank you so much.